If you enjoy today's content, then please consider supporting Top Hat Gaming Man on Patreon. Yeah. Cancelled consoles, cancelled consoles, cancelled consoles. We have examined the stories of plenty of these buggers over the last year on this channel. I have covered the history of unreleased platforms from many huge gaming companies such as Atari, Sega, and even Nintendo. The more you go down the rabbit hole looking into this sort of thing, the more cancelled consoles end up being brought to your attention. In today's video, we are going to look at yet another cancelled platform, this time in the form of the Taito Wowow. But before we get into talking about this thing and why it was axed, let's have a quick recap of the history of Taito themselves. Yeah. Taito, to this day, is arguably still one of the most well-known brands in all of gaming. So, it is of no surprise at all that there was a point in time where they were heavily considering releasing a games console of their own. Going from the name and the arcade legacy the company are famous for, it is very easy to straight away make the assumption that the company was founded by Japanese businessmen. However, Taito has a rather unexpected origin. The company Taito was founded in 1953. By a Ukrainian Jewish businessman named Michael Kogan. The company was christened as Taito Trading Company Limited. Obviously, if we go as far back as the early 50s, this was prior to the genesis of video games. So rather than arcades, Taito were manufacturing a different piece of machinery to be placed business to business, this time in the form of Taito vending machines. Additionally, prior to their gaming endeavours, Taito also became the first company in history to distill and sell vodka to the Japanese market. In 1972, the company would rebrand themselves as the Taito Corporation. This change of direction would result in the company introducing their first arcade games by the following year. Throughout 1973, Taito released titles such as Astro Race, Davis Cup, Elipong and Pro Hockey, to name a few. However, Taito's legacy would be completely cemented in the world of gaming with the release of Space Invaders in 1978. Space Invaders was licensed to Midway in both Europe and the United States, and through their combined efforts, by 1982 it had grossed $2 billion, with a net profit of $450 million. Making it the best-selling video game and highest-grossing entertainment product of its time. Adjusted for inflation, all versions of Space Invaders are estimated to have grossed over $13 billion in total revenue, making it the highest-grossing video game ever made. Past this point in time, Taito will continue to pump out well-known classics such as Bubble Bobble, Chase HQ and Puzznic, just to name a few. Moving past the arcade's golden era, the Nintendo Entertainment System began to make huge waves in Japan and the USA, whilst microcomputers simultaneously dominated most of Europe. Taito became a key developer on all of these platforms and were one of the last third-party companies to heavily support the NES, with plenty of great exclusive releases during the system's twilight years, such as Panic Restaurant and Little Samson, two of the better games which can be found on the control deck. So all in all, Taito had established themselves as a major player in both the arcade industry and as a developer of many great games on home systems. So logically for Taito, it was no wonder that introducing a home console would have been the next step for the company. The Wowow was a games console by Taito, which the company chose to show off at the Tokyo Toy Show in 1992. This system is said to be a forward-thinking piece of technology for its time in the fact that it came with its own CD drive and a satellite receiver, which was apparently intended for streaming games via an uplink. At the helm of this project was an engineer who worked for Taito known as Yukihari Sambi, who has spilt a lot of gossip regarding this cancelled project to the website Unseen64. According to the gentleman, the system would have featured high-quality arcade-like graphics and sound, and would have featured many of Taito's largest intellectual properties from the time period. Regarding all of this, Sammy mentioned he programmed a modified version of Darius for the platform. Further to this, French magazine Console Plus also mentions that Bubble Bobble and Parasol Stars were set for early releases on the platform. In terms of technology, the Wowow would have used hardware which would have been very similar to that could have been found within Taito arcade cabinets at the time. In terms of production and ownership, the Wowow was a joint project between Taito themselves, a software editor known as ASCII, and JSB, who were owners of a well-known Japanese television network known as Wowow, which is where the system received its naming choice from. With regards to this partnership and how the satellite technology would have been utilised, Samby states that JSB Satellite had not only a video broadcasting channel, but a data stream channel also. Taito would send data streams to the JSB satellite base, which was located near Tokyo, through RJ45 connectors, and JSB would have transferred these streams to satellite. Home receivers would have been detected through data flows, and stored them into their receiver's memory. If a subscriber to the service had selected a game to play, a memory game program would have run. We would have been responsible for the game's delivery, JSB would have been responsible for the satellite communication, and ASCII would have been responsible for the data interfaces. We intended to collect the game's subscriber fees through JSB. In terms of this innovative system's cancellation, we can easily speculate for ourselves as to why this would have been the case. For example, the ultra heavy level of competition that would have been floating around the homes console market at the time. The two big heavy hitters would have obviously been the Sega Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo, but outside of that, this platform would have also had to compete for space alongside the Sega Mega CD, Atari Jaguar, the Philips CDI, Amiga CD32, 3DO, FM Towns Marty, and Pioneer Laser Active, just to name a few. This system could have easily got lost in the shuffle, just as so many consoles did in the early 90s. Samby himself though states other reasons as to why this system never made it to the market. Firstly, Samby mentions that data transferring speeds were not enough and users would have had to wait more than several minutes to download one small game. And if they had tried to broadcast several games at the same time, the download time would have obviously been even greater. Apart from the slow internet speed, Samby also states that in the beginning, JSB intended to combine game hardware into the home satellite receiver. However, memory was expensive and an all-in-one receiver made the cost estimation very high. 5 years later, Nintendo absorbed satellite music company Saint Giga and started their satellite download business in 1995. The data stream was almost the same structure that we designed. Nintendo used their games console with special satellite game equipment. However, Nintendo did not make good success on this business. They had similar difficulties that we encountered previously. Reflecting and looking back at the cancellation of the Taito Wowow, it really does make a lot of sense really as to why the plug was pulled on this thing. The sort of technology Taito wanted to run with was not ready, the project was not cost effective, and the console market in general was completely oversaturated with a variety of different systems. The Wowow story lives on today through YouTube videos, online posts and magazine articles from long ago. However, apart from this, the Wowow will sadly remain a footnote in gaming's history of various lost games consoles. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoy learning about cancelled games consoles, I have created a whole playlist featuring over a dozen cancelled consoles which never featured commercial releases. You can find this simply by clicking on the annotation at the end of this video or hitting the tab at the top of the screen now. Just do it. Further to this, I create all sorts of gaming trivia videos on this channel, so if you like what you see, I would appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, hit the notification bell and left a comment to let me know what your thoughts on today's content was. Which gaming story would you like to see me cover on this channel next? Finally, my channel Top Hat Gaming Man is partly funded from the fantastic support and donations I receive from my top-notch Patreon supporters. So shoutouts in the credits to Carl Johnson, Shizuka Kobayashi, Greg Hooper, Richard Clark, Harold Webb, Sint Spacies, Kevin Verhaley, David Mountford, Andrew Bazansky, Edward O'Reilly, Michael Keneally, Tom Elliott, Mark S. Hines, Gary Pinkett, The Gaming Muso, Spangemat B, Quang DX, Stuart McDermott, Nash Quad, Michael Baker, and all of my other patrons. You're making my dreams more realistic every single day. Yeah. Cheerio!